Hey, this is Doris Burke from ESPN. I've been lucky enough to travel the entire United States covering men's and women's college basketball and the NBA. But if you're looking for coverage of high school sports, there's no better place than Cap Sports with Carl Pratt.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome once again to another edition of the Video Sports Page, edition number 1197. I'm your host, Carl Pratt. Now, during this week's edition of our program, we're going to talk about the Plymouth South hockey team, who's on a nice super run in the postseason. In fact, as we put this program on the air for the first time this week, a Thursday night, Plymouth South is scheduled to be in action in the South Sectional semifinals. They're hoping to be in the finals at the Gallo Rink in Bourne this coming Sunday at 4:45. Speaking of success, the Duxbury boys and girls varsity hockey teams are having great success. The boys, in fact, are in action against Springfield Cathedral on this Thursday night. They play a 2 out of 3 as far as the Super 8 tournament is concerned. And the girls will be back in action following a thrilling victory on Wednesday night. Speaking of success over in Duxbury, Bob Sullivan's girls varsity basketball team is up to 23-0. And earlier this week, I talked to Bob Sullivan. I'll replay that interview with him. From Plymouth South High School, we'll have a Meet the Athlete segment. Senior defenseman Joey Good will join us via videotape. And you want to talk about success? How about Tommy Griffa over at Silver Lake, an outstanding wrestler? For the second time in 2 years, Tommy Griffa will be wrestling in the New England Championships. He's had a super season here in the winter of 2013/14. And before we say goodnight tonight, we're going to take a look back at the very popular Polar Plunge. Temperatures were mighty cold this past weekend at Plymouth Beach, but lots of people came out to brave the elements and raise some money for the Jordan Hospital Club. I'll be joined by several participants and some key figures who are on hand to make it one more successful Polar Plunge here in the town of Plymouth. But let's begin our program by talking about the Plymouth South hockey team. 2-1 winners earlier this week against North Quincy as they win it in the last minute with a nifty little goal. Plymouth South is scheduled to take on Canton tonight. In fact, as you watch this show, the first puck has been dropped in that hockey match. Canton has a record of 12-4-4, while the Plymouth South Panthers are the number 1 seed. They went into the tournament at 15-3-2. They already have 2 victories under their belt. And as I mentioned, this action taking place at the Gallo Rink in Bourne. If Plymouth South is successful on a Thursday night, they'll be in the sectional finals on Sunday starting at 4:45 against the winner of the Medfield-Oliver Ames matchup. Well, speaking of Plymouth South High School, let's have our Meet the Athlete segment. Earlier this week, I caught up with Joey Good. He's a senior defenseman. Well, the Plymouth South hockey team continues to roll along. They continue to impress. A week ago, we spent some time with head coach Mike McCosh. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by one of the seniors that really makes this program work. This is Joe Good. And, Joe, you've really got to be happy with this season.
Yeah, no, we're real happy. We all came together this year and really pulled it forward, and we got the best record in South history. Can't complain about that.
Let's talk, if we can, at what point did you and some of your teammates think, hey, this could be a special season?
Well, I mean, I believe we finished the month of December undefeated, and that was a big milestone, and we all looked at each other and was like, you know, we got something special this year, so let's capitalize on it.
And how cool was it being the number 1 seed going into the tournament? It was a big field.
Yeah, no, that was an unbelievable feeling, and you get to be the home team every game. If you're the number 1 seed, we had to bye first round, and can't complain about that.
Let's back up the clock. The most recent tournament game for South, boy, a thrilling 2-1 victory, okay, and you win it in the last minute.
Yeah, no, that's our motto. We dig deep in the third period especially, and we definitely pulled through. Kevin Cowden had that great goal at the end, crashing the net, and made it interesting.
All right, the Plymouth South Panthers back in action. They go up against Canton on Thursday. Obviously, by the time people see this program or it wraps up, you'll have your face-off down at the Bog. Playing at the Bog is like playing at your own home ice. You're there so much.
Yep. We're really mentally prepared for the game on Thursday, and I think it'll definitely be a good one. We got to play South hockey.
Here you go. Talk a little bit about your own hockey, your own style, Joe. You play defense, obviously.
Yep.
You're one of the leaders on the back line. They get past you, your goalie saying, hey, Joe, what you do?
Yeah, well, we got OC standing big in the net there. I'm more of like a stay-at-home defenseman kind of guy, but you know, I'm down there blocking shots for OC. He's standing big behind me, and we definitely got a lot of depth. So we're all I don't know.
Well,
we got depth.
There you go. Hey, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And obviously, depth has turned into success. Let me ask you, what it's like playing for Coach Mike McCosh. He's been around here for so long. At times, he looks like a grumpy old man there yelling, and other times, he's got a big smile. But he obviously has a lot of confidence in you guys.
Let me tell you, he's definitely he's one of the greatest guys I've ever met. He's definitely the best hockey coach I know by far. He's he wants it. He's that kind of guy. He deserves it too. Everything we've given him this year on the ice, he deserves. He's just a great guy.
Let me talk about it, not to put you on the spot, but being a senior, and this is the middle of the school year, how quick is your senior year flying by?
Oh, it's just like that. It's over. I still remember the first day of my freshman year, and now I'm looking my last couple hockey games. It goes by fast.
All right, let me talk a little bit, if we can, about the senior year flying by. Obviously, we talked about the coach. How about a teacher or two that's had a lot of influence for you that maybe you'll miss?
Definitely Mr. Burns over in the gym. He's definitely always been he's been real supportive of all the sports teams, you know, but he's definitely always that coach that put a lasting memory on me. And my history teacher last year, Mr. McGinnis, he was definitely, we would always talk hockey and stuff, so he was a good guy.
All right, as you can tell from my graphic, this week on our program, I'm joined by Joey Good. He's a senior defenseman for the Plymouth South varsity hockey team. Already 2 victories in the postseason under their belt. Before I let you sneak away, how about future plans?
I'm joining the Marine Corps next year and doing my 4 years, maybe extending my contract after. We'll see how it plans out, but that's my plans for next year, though.
And what do you want to do in the Marines? Most people that go into the service have a different idea in mind. What about you?
Yeah, my dream's to become a dog handler, working with the like the IED dogs and stuff like that. But you can't. It's one of those things you can't go right into as. So I'm going in the general infantry at first. So I'll see how it. Hopefully it works out for me.
Well, let me ask you, what does that mean? What prompted you to do that? And for the people that don't understand what you're saying, tell people what IED mean.
My dream is to become a canine sheriff or something along that lines when I'm out. And the IED dogs, they mostly go ahead of the infantry, and they're sniffing out the IEDs that the Taliban, the improvised explosive devices. They work with narcotics and stuff like that, and that's just always interests me. So definitely be a good opportunity.
Well, here he goes. He's the last man on defense before the goal here for Plymouth South Hockey. Now you're going to be out there searching out the Taliban. So Here's a guy right after the Marines' heart.
Yep. Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do. It's definitely a big change in life, but you know, got to.
Hey, it's nice to have a goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time spending time with us on the program this week, and obviously, as I said, people will see this on a Thursday night, and you get that big matchup with Canton. Good luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, we'll continue with more of this week's edition of our program. Another one of those Meet the Athlete segments from the very successful Plymouth South hockey team. This is senior defenseman Joe Good. Okay, let's stay on the subject of hockey and let's talk about the Duxbury girls, who on Wednesday posted a very impressive 1-0 victory against Watertown Belmont. And how'd they do it? With a penalty shot. The goal was scored by Jane Dudley, and she scored it with 10 minutes left in the game. So Duxbury, which has won the last 3 Division II state championships, is now in the Division I state championship, which will take place this weekend at 4:30. And Duxbury will go up against Acton Boxborough at Stoneham. All right, as far as Duxbury is concerned, they've won their 2 postseason games by the shutout route. Their record now 15-1-6 on the season. And as far as the boys are concerned, head coach John Blake's team, they're involved in the Super 8 tournament. They won their first matchup with Springfield Cathedral. They have Game 2 slated for Thursday. And you know what? It's a 2 out of 3 set, and then they advance. Duxbury having a super season, that action will take place at the Songus Arena. And the Duxbury girls basketball team is up to 23-0 following a victory this week against Foxborough. That final count was 56-42. Thus, they'll be in action on Saturday against Sharon. That should be a great matchup. It'll all take place at UMass Boston starting at 10 o'clock. Well, earlier this week, prior to one of his team's practices, I met up with veteran coach, and he spent some time with us talking about his team, Bob Sullivan, full of enthusiasm. Okay, let's continue with this week's edition of the Video Sports Page. We're over here at Duxbury where they have a storied boys and girls sports program. But you know what? We're going to talk about the girls tonight, who won number 20 by plenty. But their record is now up to a perfect 23-0. And here's the fella that really orchestrates everything for the Duxbury girls, head coach Bob Sullivan. You got to be beaming these days.
Yes, I am. Very proud of those ladies.
Let's talk, if we can. You've been connected with this program for so many years. What makes this group of girls a bit more special?
I think this year we have next to perfect chemistry.
All right, obviously you know these girls. They've come up. Have they over-exceeded your expectations?
They absolutely have. We graduated 3 seniors last year. We graduated 40 points a game last year. We were 18-2 last year. We went 4 rounds, lost at UMass Boston last year. And we had to replace 3 starters. We've done that, and we're 23-0 right now.
Let's talk, if we can. You're going back to UMass this weekend. Sharon will provide the opposition. You're one of 4 teams remaining standing.
Yes, we are. And Sharon, we've scouted them, of course. They're very talented. They have a nice inside-out player, Molly O'Driscoll, who can also handle, shoot the 3, go to the rim. Nice guard play, so I'm sure it'll be a battle.
Let's talk a little bit, if we can. As you can tell from our graphic, I'm joined by head coach Bob Sullivan of the Duxbury Green Dragons. Let's talk about it. Graduation hits every program. You've already touched on that. You had to fill some holes this year. Who's come up big for you?
Oh, God. Molly Quilty at 6'4". Has done a phenomenal job offensively and defensively. She's had a couple of near triple doubles with points, rebounds, and block shots. In the last 2 games, in the last 2 tournament games, she's had 13. I think she might have had 18 rebounds last night, 5 block shots. Very, very special player. Emma Gill is a sophomore, came off the bench last year. Is one of the best athletes in the high school. One of the best athletes I've ever coached. Plays a lot of 32-minute nights. So just a wonderful, wonderful young lady. And Catherine Harrison, who probably would have started for any other team as a freshman in our league, but for Michaela North and Bridget Quilty, she came off the bench the last 2 years, and here she is. She's a starter and a very special kid.
All right, let's talk a little bit, if we can. Obviously, you waltzed through the Patriot League season. You had a couple of tests. You battled back tough against a good North Quincy team.
We did. I have a lot of respect for North Quincy. In fact, North Quincy's coach is Jess Warden, a teammate of my assistant Kerry Flynn, who won the girls' state title at Rockland in 2000. She's played at Bridgewater State. She's a great, great young lady. And we knew we got them pretty good the first time. We knew the second time would be a battle. She made some adjustments, and we came back from quite a bit down and found a way to win.
Well, obviously, once you get into the postseason, the so-called second season, it's much different. Do you coach differently in the playoffs?
I don't think so. We're a defensive team first. We stress we do a shell drill almost every day in practice, defensive shell drill. We don't always make all of our shots. We don't always make all of our free throws, but our defensive effort is there most every night.
Well, let's back up the clock to earlier this week. Your team went up against a very good opponent as you took on Foxborough, and that was a battle most of the way.
Yes, it was. I believe we were down 12-11 after 1. We come up with a great second quarter defense. And at the end of the day, if we're playing defense, we're going to be in every game. And Catherine had a huge night dealing with a little illness and found a way to play most all the second half and come up with 22 points, 15 rebounds, couple block shots. Molly, another 13 points, 18 rebounds, a couple block shots. Special night.
Let me ask you, at what point in the season, even though you knew what you had coming back and you had some good talent, at what point in the season did you say, you know what, I think we got a special group here, if things continue the way they're going?
Well, that's a good question, but I think we started, one of our first games was against Marshfield, and Marshfield has a very talented player, Maggie Ahern, 6'2", very athletic. Her brother just signed with one of the America East teams. We did a great job defensively against that team, held them in the 20s and won pretty easily. And I saw some great things out of Molly that night, some great things out of Catherine that night, so I knew we had something special.
All right, here's the situation. One of the beauties, or one of the lack of beauties, if you will, with local cable, we're not sure if we're going to have some highlights at the time of this interview with veteran coach Bob Sullivan. We hope to have some highlights, and if we do, we're going to show them to you at the conclusion of this interview. If we don't, well, we've talked about the great success of Duxbury, and they'll be back in action on Saturday. It's going to be an early game, 10 o'clock start at UMass Boston. We appreciate your time and keep it rolling.
Thank you very much.
All right, head coach Bob Sullivan of the Duxbury Green Dragons. His Lady Dragons currently stand at 23-0.
Hey fans, this is Big Papa, man. I'm trying to stay away from my man Kyle, but he keep on finding me. You are watching Cap Sport.
Great. How about a word about Tommy Griffa over at Silver Lake, an outstanding wrestler for the Lakers? He had an opportunity this year to become just the second Laker in history to be a state champion, and what a record he had this winter. Tommy Griffa's record, 45-2. Last week he came in second place in the All-State meet. Tommy Griffa just his second loss this year, but Tommy Griffa is now going on to the New Englands this weekend in Providence. Tommy Griffa from Silver Lake came in second place in the All-State meet, and it's the second year in a row that he's going to the New England Championships. Congratulations to Tommy. Tommy had a big win in last weekend's tournament, in fact, as he went up against the fella who he has practiced against all year long in the off-season. Very familiar with his friend, his opponent, his workout partner, but he came up with a key victory, thus he advances. Well, this past weekend down at Plymouth Beach, they had the annual Polar Plunge. I was down there with the video camera, dressed very warm, didn't brave the elements, but there were many people that did. And we have an opportunity now with our video camera to show you some of the many faces, the costumes, the enthusiasm, and some of those people, you might call them crazy, but they were out there for a very good cause. Let's show you the Polar Plunge for this season. Oh my goodness. Get on this side.
On this side.
Just so I can get a video shot of you.
Okay.
Rich, come on, you didn't even get wet.
I had to get her out.
Oh. You all right?
How you doing?
Okay, as we continue with our coverage for the annual Polar Plunge down here at Plymouth Beach, all to benefit the Jordan Hospital Club, I'm pleased to be joined by a couple of Kingston residents. This is Rich and Debbie Carteret from Kingston, and let's talk about the effort here today. You had a group of you.
We did. We called Barbara's Angels.
Okay, and talk about the point of doing this here today.
Well, Debbie lost her mother a couple years ago to breast cancer, and we do it for her. We got a team together, and we called it Barbara's Angels.
There you go. Debbie, talk a little bit how special this is for you to remember Mom in a special way and keep her alive.
She thinks we're crazy. We did it the year before she passed, and she said we were crazy then, but we're even crazier now. So we'll continue to do it in her memory, and
It's fun.
it'll be warmer at some point.
There you go. Let's talk, if we can, the amount of people you saw here when you guys came down to get ready, and you felt you weren't alone. At least everywhere you looked, there were people filled with enthusiasm, despite how cold they were.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Not as many people as it was last year, but still, the effort that people put into it is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
All right, if you had a message to pass on to people watching my show and say, what are these people doing? Talk about at least the satisfaction you get out of what you did. Yeah, you're cold for a few minutes, but driving home, you're going to say, I'm glad I did it.
We did it. Yeah, we did
Reason for a reason. It's for a good cause for
Our
the
third year
hospital.
doing it. It's great. You jump in
You
there.
get
It
an
is cold.
adrenaline rush.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Yeah. And did you hear the theme here? Freezing for a reason. Well, those are fitting words. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
All right, Rich and Debbie Carteret from Kingston joining us. We'll try to grab one more before we close our coverage of the annual Polar Plunge. But you know what? We want to thank Bill Sims. He picked up our video for us last year, doing it again this year. And everybody appreciates Bill, who was also a participant.
Yes.
But it was only his legs and his waist that were frozen. Thank God, not his fingers. All right, we'll continue. Stay with us. Well, one of the last pieces of video we picked up before we left the waters was this gentleman. The last one standing, if I can use those terms, but the last one to get out of the water. This is Kevin Crawford, who comes from Abington. So it's pretty special for people from Jordan Hospital, well, it used to be Jordan, but the Jordan Hospital Club, to have an out-of-towner come down and be the last one standing. And this isn't the first time.
I love doing this. I've been doing it for a lot of years now. It's a lot of fun. It's for a great cause. This is a tough swim. A lot of people, they think January 1st is a tough one, but you get in the late February, early March, that's when you separate the fools from the idiots. So it's a little chilly out there today, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, it's an opportunity now to put one of our guests to work behind the camera, Rich Carteret doing our filming, and take Bill Sims from behind the camera to in front of it. Obviously, you and the missus very active in this effort here today and in years past.
Yeah, Carl, my wife has been part of the Jordan Hospital Club for many years, and she continues with the tradition every year, and I'm more than happy to help out any way I can.
Well, anytime I come down here and see you, you're anxious to get in the water, anxious to obviously volunteer time and participate. So what was it like for you to run in and out? You've done it so many times in the past.
It only hurts for a minute. It was good to get out, though.
And let's talk about it. You have an opportunity to film for us, which we appreciate, so we can run around and get various guests. What do you think of the enthusiasm when you see so many people participating? You saw my guest with the Patriots helmet on. He's from Abington. He's not it's local, but it's not local.
Yeah, it's tremendous to see the kind of support we get from the entire region, Carl, not just from Plymouth, but from towns that surround the area. And year on year, year after year, this thing just grows and grows and grows, and the money that comes in is just tremendous.
Well, you're very active in the community. You were for years with youth sports with your own kids, so you've given your fair share of time involved with high school athletics and so forth. But this is very important as well.
It is. It is for the hospital. It is for the community. It brings people together, and obviously, it's a great fundraiser for the hospital.
If you had to pass a message on to people, whether it's this Polar Plunge or any other activity out there that calls for people to come forward and give their time, what kind of message could you give them? Because you never know when you're going to need the efforts of volunteers like yourself.
I would say get involved, come out to an event like this, see the kind of support and the involvement from the community, and it really gives you just a great feeling. It's heartwarming to see the kind of effort that people put into raising the money and taking that plunge.
All right, Bill Sims joining us this week as we continue with our coverage right here from Plymouth Beach, and thank goodness for the bright sun today.
Absolutely, Carl.
A great equalizer. Well, we appreciate your time, not only here for the Jordan Hospital Club with you and the missus, but working as our field videographer, if you will, and I'm sure your daughter, who's down in Texas and covering many, many sports for an affiliate down there, would be proud of her dad as a field videographer.
Well, I don't know how proud about my videography skills, but I'm sure she's proud to see me out here anyway. And thank you, Carl, for all you do for the community as well.
Well, we appreciate the kind words. All right, we're going to wrap it up here from Plymouth Beach. We want to thank Rich Carteret for filming our final interview. Let's talk about something else going on in our viewing area. Well, that'll take care of this week's edition of the Video Sports Page. I've been your host, Carl Pratt. Don't forget, we come your way every Thursday night at 7:30, Sunday nights at 10. We give you a replay on Friday afternoons at 12:30, and on Sunday nights at 7:30, we show you one of our oldest shows. We're rapidly creeping up to April 4th, and you know what? April 4th, that celebrates our 25th year doing our sports show. We first went on the air April 4th, 1989. Well, this one's in the can. I've been your host, Carl Pratt. Health and wisdom from the Video Sports Page.